Hello. Wow, that was. Hello, thank you for coming to this session. I'm actually quite happy to see so many people here.
So can you tell us a bit more about how you joined the project of Flow? As film director, as Gintz said, you were one of the first people he approached during the development of Flow, and what was your first impression of the project?
I knew Gintz Zilbalodis before his first feature film. I invited him to my computer graphics meetups that I organized just to get together people who are usually not very socially active, and computer graphics enthusiasts, Blender users, game developers, and I was kind of trying to get them out of their layers or man caves. And yeah, I met him, and he was, well, he still is very humble and silent, and really keeps everything to himself, and mostly spends his time alone at his computer. But yeah, he was the same person back then, and he was quite happy that I was starting to ask him about his film, and it was the upcoming film Away that he did alone on his laptop. It was Maya, and that was taught in school, in the art school that I am now teaching Blender, and. Yeah, and it was quite surprising that he managed to. He somehow understands the assignment that he has either given to him in school or that he has put on himself, and he's one of the rare individuals who can actually finish a project in a very specific timeline. That is very unusual. I have at least 15 game and movie projects that I have started and never finished. So, but he just starts it and finishes, and that's quite amazing.
So that was the most impressive thing about.
I mean, yeah, he's not normal.
But what do you think about the story? Did you think that he could do it? Did you think, okay, this is completely normal project that can be done in the course of next couple of years, or is this, completely delusional?
Yeah, he's completely insane. So I guess the moment when everyone understood that, hey, this is a guy who I would like to work with, is that he managed to create his first feature film without any budget, and he did everything by himself: script, animation, modeling, effects, camera, and music as well, and sound design. And he went to Annecy and got the Contre-Champ Award, which is like a Grand Prix in Annecy. So that was something that hadn't happened in Latvia before. And after that, even the state film, what's the name of Keynote centers, like Cinema Center of Latvia, understood, hey, this is someone we can trust for his next project. But for Gintz, unfortunately, it also meant that he needs to have a team.
So, how come he approached you, who was working in Blender?
Well, he was asking me, I'm looking for a team, do you know someone who can make this movie with me? And I was like, yeah, well, there's a company there that actually in Latvia, one of the first companies that gathered a lot of computer graphics specialists, and they tried to create like a hub for CG people, and with the idea that we could actually make bigger projects like the ones with not only in Latvia itself, but international projects. And they refused. They said that Gin's project is delusional and it's going to bankrupt their company, which would have happened. So Gins decided that he needs to create his own studio. And he told me if I wanted to be part of it. I said, yeah, that's crazy and I would love to.
Okay, so probably the first task in this movie was to create a team and to gather people. And probably this was a really tough time to do this because that was around a year before pandemic started, right?
2018, 2019, yeah. And 2019 was a tough year, yeah. And but the thing was that he got already writer and producer, Matti Skaja, the other guy who got an Oscar.
Okay.
And Mattis, he's a brilliant producer. He's also director. He's directing feature films, short films, and theater plays. And he's also a lecturer at university, cinema university, and back then he was still 25. So Gins was 24, Mattis was 25. So both of them were kids.
And he was a teacher at the university.
Yeah. I mean, that's quite crazy. I mean,
goals.
Yeah. And so I guess you have director and writer and producer. Who else do you need?
Animator, technical artist.
So yeah, he got technical artist, and I was the one. He was as he made the first feature film in Maya and in a viewport render, not like a final render. It's just what you see in a viewport, and he used that as a final output. Gins really loved the way how that interactivity played that's like how do you call it, like flexibility, of that you can see what you would see as a final shot in a film. So in a sense, he was already starting to create his film, the first film, as a computer game. So he walked around with the camera, looked for shots, and most of the shots are really long, even for his first film. And also, the camera is moving only one character, so that is kind of like computer games work. So you have huge open worlds, you have one character and a camera that moves around one subject. And he asked me if Unreal Engine would be suitable program to create the film in, and I was saying that, hey, but Blender is now having a real-time renderer, and we wouldn't have to switch between the Blender and Unreal. Let's try Blender.
And how did he respond? Since all the animators that are probably going to schools in Latvia, most of them are working with Maya. He worked with Maya. How did you convince him to switch?
I didn't have to. He said yes. Like, okay.
So how did you collaboration? How did you collaborate it? How did it look like? Now you had the core team and made the teaser for.
First of all, we were looking for a space actually to work together. That was also quite an interesting time. At the beginning, we were all working from home, and that was not really ideal. And my company, another company that worked together with me and Gins, we were all looking for a new office. And that time was coincidentally the same time when COVID, the first wave, broke out. And it was really simple to find offices back then in Riga. Because now everyone was like either selling or renting open spaces. And we found a really interesting place. It was a horse stable originally, and later it went through interesting history. So it was a brothel later. Then kindergarten at one point. And when we got inside, it was a hostel, and the hostels weren't like doing too good in during COVID times, so we got it for quite a cheap price. It was enough for 5 studios, and yeah. And
you had showers there, and
we had showers and then the double deckers there, so perfect place for a studio.
So how did you hit it off with other co-production companies when you found out that you couldn't do everything by yourself now?
So yeah, animation was not feasible in Latvia. There's no animation industry at all, so animators are impossible to find. So it was already quite at that point quite clear that we need to make a co-production. Also, budget was not really set at the very beginning, so that meant that the first steps were done actually without any budget. So I just joined to enjoy the ride with Gins in making this film without any budget. But luckily, Film Center, they secured the first round. That meant that we can find more people. I found I took some of my students from school to work for Gins, so some cheap labor, and and I was like looking through the computer graphics community to ask people who is like willing to do some work for Gins' upcoming movie, and it was quite easy to find people. Everyone's like jumping forward. The thing is that
really it's not a myth that Gen Z doesn't like working, or
no. The thing is that whenever they heard Gins Zilbelots, they were like, "Yay!" And because he was already known even before Flow in Latvia, at least, and everyone wanted to do something with him. But the interesting thing is that only few people stayed during the whole production. So the core, I think there was maybe 30 people coming and going, but only core team, like 15-ish of us stayed. And I found that almost none of the people that worked on the movie actually had ever had anything to do with animation. That's first. They had never, they even didn't know Blender. So most of the people were like coming either from graphic design. Some of them. So yeah, graphic design. Gins didn't even had opened Blender before. I'm quite sure of that. And only two people that we got in including me, 2 people actually had used Blender before. And for example, nice example actually, one of the main florist that was the set designer in the film. She is actually a set designer in theater, so she had never ever used 3D software before, or actually any like digital software. So that's actually quite a nice. So the previous talk was saying about what kind of people are studios looking for, and I think that is changing right now. And the most important part is you need to find someone who you could work with for the next 5 years during the production. That means that you have to be someone who is willing to learn, willing to cooperate, talk, and a good person.
Was this a unique project for you, in a sense that it was?
It was completely different. First of all, it was Gins' first project with a team. He was just created a studio, so it was also his first time managing a studio, managing people, and first time having a budget. So he was not. He didn't know what he was doing. Same with the producer and the rest of the team. We totally winged the whole project. It's like, yeah, let's do something. And also, it's a nice thing that if you don't have lot of budget, and at first we didn't even have like producers that were saying what we should do. And actually, at any point there was no like pressure from someplace else what we should do. So we're just doing our best and had a lot of fun doing that.
Did you have some process? How did you organize? I know that you didn't have storyboards, which is groundbreaking for animation industry. And the animation industry starts with storyboards. So it was, what did you start with? Animation or simulation?
Yeah, we already started with basically a finished film that Gins had created. So there was no script at any point of production. I know that there is a script that Gins had to create. Actually, that was probably not Gins, that was probably the producer. He wrote a script just to get funding from producers in France and in Belgium. So, but the script is something that I have never seen. The thing is that the first starting point was animatic that Gins had created by himself, and some of the music already that he composed, and he showed it to us and said, let's make it better. It's like, okay. And
here's the film. Let's make it better.
Yeah, here's the film, and let's make it nicer. So and Gins' approach is very unique. So he basically creates a huge world, then walks around with that world with a camera, like a camera operator, and looks for like a nice shots. And
basically similar to machinima.
It's like a machinima, yeah, exactly. That's why I was very like fond of his technique, because I felt that we're making something like a computer game. And also the approach in his films, and all of his films, is this immersive camera, immersive storytelling, and not really saying a lot about the movie. So it's basically just you as a viewer figure out what's happening.
So what was your job there? What were the technical challenges and simulations you had to make?
The first thing was that Gins said that there's going to be water, and a lot of it, and water is a very problematic force of nature in real world, and in film industry, and in animation film industry in especially. So yeah, that was the first thing, and also I worked on some of the lighting. At one point I was also a concept artist, so we were all having many hats during the production, so we could fill in each other. So Gins could like do any job, so he could like step in as animator or step in as a set designer, and all of us who were working on a film, we had like different backgrounds, and at any point we could like take over some of the works, which was very nice and flexible, completely different than any other project. Also, what was very specific for this project, that we all felt that we were responsible. Like there was a sense of responsibility that nobody else is going to say, "Hey, this is not working. Let's change it." Whatever you'd made stayed in the film, and it was like, okay, so actually I'm the expert. Okay, that means that what we added, there was no like someone's watching over your shoulder and say, no, just move it there, no, move it there. So, for example, our set designer added the bushes and grass, and Gins took over that file, opened it, and suddenly sees that the camera is inside the bushes, and you cannot see the cat anymore. So Gins is like, oh, okay, I'll move the camera a bit. So through each iteration, something changed a little bit. So, for example, whenever I added new waves or water in the scenes, something changed. For example, cat was suddenly underwater. That Gins placed it, so he had to put it over the waves. Then after he done that, he sent it to animators. Animators saw the waves. So that means that if the waves are reacting that way, cat needs to stay over the water. So animator changed the animation. Then I get back to, so the finished animation comes and I see that, okay, now the animation has changed. That means that there has to be some interaction with water. For example, when the cat is swimming, then there needs to be like a secondary interaction from the cat to the water, and then again Gins comes and sees a new angle and then changes something. So it's like an ongoing process of it's like ever-growing project. That's at one point, you cannot really say, okay, this shot is finished, and that's it. We don't touch it anymore, because at any point something could change. So that is very unusual. And what is also interesting, that at any moment film was ready. Like whenever we got more budget coming in, it was like, okay, let's make the whole film a bit nicer. Now we can afford to nicify things. And so it was an interesting thing. It's like you're already finished with some things, and there's like, hey, we just got more, like 400,000 euros. Let's make something nicer. Like let's add some light shafts or something like that. So it's interesting that it was at any point movie was finished, but not really. We were a small team, so it wasn't that difficult. So basically everything was in it was more difficult than that, actually, but especially for animators, because once we gave all the projects to France, they were like, well, okay, this is not how things are done. So they redid all of the animal rigs, because our rigging artist, he did like such an amazing work making rigs so complex that it was impossible to work
Change
with them.
now.
And they just made them more generic and simplified. And also France, when they started working on animation, that was also interesting. We had 1 or 2 experienced animators from France, and the rest of them were students that had just graduated from school, and they were taught Blender at that moment. So that means that this was basically just like a graduation project for a lot of people that were involved.
Did you talk with them each day, each week?
Yeah, so animation was like, they were like a separate team. They were mostly working from either one place in France, like I don't know if it was a city or campus, but mostly French team communicated with themselves. Latvian team was like a completely separate team, and then the Belgium team was like a separate. But Gins was all the time traveling to France, to Belgium, coming back, and like that. He was always on top of things at any moment. So that was actually that was something that I admire in him. That at any moment you could come to his, I don't know, call him or ask him things, and he could like switch from. You could see that he's composing music, and then it's like, hey, let's switch to water simulation at any moment, and he could just switch the context and like become like very much involved into water physics and water looks and watercolor and everything.
And very hands-on person. I mean, a lot of people are still arguing whether remote jobs are available or not. And, he was, even during pandemics, probably post-pandemics area, he was traveling all the time to all the offices.
Yeah.
Was that very? Did that prolong the development in some way?
No, not really. No, we were quite happy to isolate ourselves from the world inside our small office into workaholism. But no, that really didn't bother us at all. And Gins actually mostly is not on inside the office on set, so he just really likes his time outside of anyone else's. Like, so he's a solitary person, like a cat.
So when the film was finally finished, when you ran out of money for more polish, when the film was finally finished.
No, we actually had a deadline, so that was not possible to polish it more and more.
So you set the time and say, okay.
Yeah, finally we got like a deadline, which was the Cannes Film Festival, and yep. And 2 days before, I was still making water.
Okay. And then, what did you expect? Did you expect the movie to be such a global phenomenon success?
I knew that movie is going to be great. I had at that point watched it like hundreds of times, and I knew that the movie was going to be amazing. I didn't anticipate it. We quite consciously made something that is shouldn't be popular. So it was an art house film without dialogue, no high budget graphics with fur rendering, and every pixel is is thought out, and in the movie there's actually quite a lot of mistakes still, but it actually in the end apparently doesn't matter, because movie for some perspectives looks like PS2 graphics, like PlayStation, and it still is a good movie. And I knew that it's going to be a good movie, but not. And we were really celebrating the fact that it's going to open in Cannes Film Festival. But that was probably well, we celebrated that because we kind of thought that's going to be the end of everything. Like Cannes Film Festival, that's the highest where you can go in Europe. Yeah. After that, it was just madness. And
did your kids maybe watch the movie before, and what was their feedback?
My daughter, when the movie was still in production, my daughter was just born, so. And she had each week we got a new edit of the half-finished film just to see how coherent is all of the shots and so on. And my daughter was with me while I was watching those shots, so she has probably saw it 100 times. And what I found amazing is that she could actually watch it from the beginning to the end. And kids, they get quite exhausted after seeing something that is very active and I don't know, Disney films. I know that my kids cannot really watch through a lot of kids movies nowadays, but Flow was apparently different, and my kids have seen the movie, not the finished version actually, just the edits.
So these water simulations, there are simulations that you did. You are selling now as add-ons.
Yeah, so we
physical company?
Yeah, so we made a tool in order. So what I wanted to say that a lot of time was spent in the pre-production. It's not like that we just winged together the project and didn't know what we were doing. Actually, we were quite sure that we need to prepare for whatever is coming when the production starts. So we spent a lot of time to polish the workflows, polish the files, and just try out different things, what worked, what doesn't work. And that also included water simulation. So we knew that we cannot really afford losing time on rendering water. So I decided that I will use computer graphics, computer game technology for water rendering. That means optimizing every part of the process. And I created a tool in Blender that everyone in the team could use. So I was not the only one who could work on water. Gins could take over some parts when I was like away, or couldn't like work on some shots. And that's what we two technical artists were doing. We were making tools for animators, tools for lighting, tools for materials, just so the workflow was really fast and lean, so we don't lose time on like technicalities.
That transfer of knowledge worked, because usually on projects in video games specifically, when you have programmers who does shaders and animators and designers and writers, they don't usually work in the same programs, or the writer is not going to go and fix the code. And how did they adapt these very technical tools, animators, artists, everyone else on the project, without feeling overwhelmed that they now have to, learn a completely new area of expertise?
Cross-pollination. So Gins knows a little of programming. I, as a technical artist, did some animation. I, as a technical artist, I know programming, and we made tools. And our main rigging artist and modeler, he actually was programming most of the tools. So we were like. We had the possibility to go in each other's skills and just either comment on them, talk through them, and prepare. There was a lot of preparation and like going through the requirements and limitations and just figuring out which things are we going to do and which are not important. So there was a lot of planning inside, but there was not a lot of confusion. I mean, skills. Well, even the ones who hadn't opened Blender before, we could teach them to use the Blender in 2 or 3 days. So that was not a problem at all. Blender and actually all of the software nowadays, they follow strict user experience guidelines. And if you know any other software, then Blender is just like that. Control-C, Control-V.
Are there any questions from the audience? Yes?
Shift D, yes. No, Shift D or Control C, Control E. It's the same, yeah.
Thank you. Hello. No, next one. No, it's more of an observation, but I think it's really interesting how the title itself is also reflected in the way you guys are working on it. The fact that you have water or a tide has a very specific direction it heads into. It will then pull back and come back either in full force under a new shape. You were doing this sort of iterative, collaborative iteration, right, on this project, which is unique to film, where usually you have pre-production, very rigid, then you get rid of that team, then you have the production team, then you have the post-production team. You guys were the pre-production and the post-production team all at once and sometimes at the same time. Was that always the plan, or was that organic flow of the project just something that gradually came more and more clear with you to you during the production? Oh my God, we're actually holistically reflecting the title of the project as well, and this is so natural. And do you think this is the future production, or do you think this is unique to specifically talented individuals working together?
I think that was the intention of the director. He already knew what's it going to take and how it's going to happen. The rest of us, it was mostly our first time in this industry. I had already worked on a few other films before, but that was completely different workflow and different style. And as you said, it was very strict. You just do this thing and focus on that thing, and you cannot even like, you just finish it, it gets accepted, and you cannot really touch it afterwards because it's already accepted. I know that this is not really a workflow or style of workflow that could work in any situation. I mean, we could have made the same movie without any budget and we would be probably broke by now, but that was the idea of the director, that he's going to finish this movie with or without budget, and that was the main goal. And if you as a professional value your time and skills, then I think, I don't know if anyone would be willing to work this in this style. And if your studio is if your studio's main goal is to create money, that this is not the best way how to do it, probably. But it could be. I mean, I would do it again. It was a very nice way how to make movie, and in the end, the movie was something that that everyone, the premiere in Cannes was the first time every one of us had actually seen the movie for the first time. So it was also a very emotional moment. All of us was like, "Wow, this is amazing!" Like, hey, you just saw your work, and like, "Oh, nice water." But in the end, what really like stood out, that this was a movie where none of the this was a movie where most importantly story was taking place, and that any other effect, like either of trees or lighting or water in that matter, stood out more than something else. So it was very coherent work altogether, and you could see right through the Gins Zilbalua style and intention. So it is an auteur movie in very, very spirit and sense. So yeah,
creative vision is very important for inspiring people and motivating them.
And we were really motivated. I don't know, either by the director or the style, how he's moving, or the fact that we actually felt that each of us were making difference in the movie. Most of these were our choices, not like directors said, "Hey, move that thing there." So yeah, it was a nice feeling.
Oh, thank you. You said you approached the water simulation from both like as a technical artist and also as an animator. And like you mentioned, for computer graphics, that is like a very difficult task. I'm curious as to how you approached optimizing the water. Like, what was the troubleshooting methodology or like the creative decisions you made to be like, all right, this is something that I need to overcome. How am I going to tackle this?
So Gins already had seen my water in either in computer games, because I had worked as a technical artist in computer game industries, and I have been doing water for 20 years so water and skies and lighting is my thing. And he just sent me a video. He didn't know that it was my water, and sent that if I could make that water. It's like, yeah, that's my water. I can do it. But the thing was that the water was in a game engine, and he wanted it to have in Blender, and that means that I need to have the same technology that runs in computer games in Blender, and it should run at 60 frames per second, ideally, right? So yeah, I just so at that time also, so Blender had a real-time rendering engine called Eevee, and also geometry nodes that had just come out. So I went to Blender conference, asked a bunch of people and developers, asking questions if this is possible in Blender. I had a positive reply and said to Gins, yes, this is possible, let's do it. And that means that you usually do with the computer graphics. So basically hiding things that are not visible, having level of details of meshes that are farther away, faking a lot of things, so smoke and mirrors. And a lot of tricks that if you would see like wireframe, you would say, "Oh, but this is a stupid trick. It's like it shouldn't work." But in the end, what matters is the effect that you have. So yeah.
So how did you license your work on these water simulation shaders later for your company?
Oh,
Did you
GPL, so you could basically get it for free. But no, don't say that. So then don't say that to add-on creators. So Blender is GPL. That means that everything that is that you make for Blender should be open sourced. Movie isn't open source, so that's also something you cannot really do. But add-ons, yeah, they are all in GPL license.
And nobody asked you to, like, you know, say, hey, these are add-ons from the studio because you developed them, or
no, Gintz was like very okay that I sell the technology that I developed for the film. It's it's very nice to be able to do that, to have your internal tools that are made in studio, that you can also sell them afterwards.
yeah, it's very uncommon.
Very uncommon, yeah. And also, but it's not an easy thing to create a tool that works for the movie. So for the movie, it was very specific. It's not like that we just packed all of the tools that we made for the movie and then just like put a sticker on it and said that it's a new tool. So it was very, very much generalized for the use for different purposes, and I had to cut some things out from the tools that we used in the movie because they were very specific for specific shots. So yeah, that's not the same thing. Tools for a project and the tool that you can sell is not the same thing.
What's the response for your tools now that they're open on the market?
5 stars. I don't know. It's okay. I guess people are happy having been able to create water. Water is not easy to do in anywhere. And water is actually I'm afraid of water. So when I was a kid, I was I was afraid of swimming, and maybe that's why I'm good at creating scary waters.
So how did the success of this movie influence the local industry, the Latvian, community, artist community, and?
So first of all, people went completely crazy after the success of Blender in Latvia. So you have like swag and things that like this shirt people are making. The merchandise. Yeah, exactly. That's the thing that I wanted to say. Street art, statues. That's the first thing. That socially it was such a big success. And also Gins Zilbalodis and Matis Kash, they're now local celebrities. They cannot go from point A to point B without like normal person. The rest of the team is fine, so we're not seeing so much. And how it influenced the industry, the thing is that there's no industry, so I really hope that the industry is going to form after the success of Flow in Latvia.
I have a question. So because the film was made as a continuous shot without cuts, right?
Not really. There are cuts.
There are hidden cuts.
But
right?
but the film, I think the longest shot was 5 or 6 minutes. That, and also on water, that was a nightmare to do.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to ask. So how did you plan this out? Because you can't really edit it in a classical way, like in post-production, because it has to be all planned out, like the time of it. So
yeah. So that long shot with the camera that's starts from inside the boat, then the camera goes outside the boat, then the camera goes underwater, then the boat goes away and the cat is inside the water, then the cat I'm telling spoilers. But in the end, the camera is traveling something like a kilometer or two. And in the end, it's like really high up in the sky and there's no cuts. So that's where the tool comes in. So I made a tool that does similar work as in computer games. So you can have a camera that is like flying in indefinite distances. So it's not dependent on the size of the world. It's just depending on the size of the place of the camera. So, procedural waters.
Cool, thank you.
Hello.
Hello.
I have a question about when you're making the water in Blender, do you use like simulations, like smoke simulations, and do you bake it? And one more, can you compare I didn't see the film or your water simulations, but what do you think was the difference between your water and water from, I don't know, Avatar or highly budget movies from Hollywood?
I think I can answer that in both of the questions in one sentence, let's say. So yes, we did simulations like Avatar does, but those simulations were really local. Just for example, if there are splashes so my system couldn't simulate like actual splashing, like when the particles go up. So we used another add-on in Blender for that, like flip fluid system is very common. And how does and that system was like blended together with my system, so you could have simulations running together with my system. And my system is all fakery, so it's just like sinus waves summed together, so they resemble water. And also, I mean, the whole movie was non-photorealistic, so it was NPR, so I could fake a lot of things, so they kind of resemble water, but they're not realistic enough. So, but no, the baking. So yeah, so how does it compares with Avatar? We didn't have lots of computers that could simulate, so we couldn't like afford super duper realistic waters. That's why we chose to go first of all in Eevee, like real time, do it as fast as possible, so we don't have to spend a lot of time and money into rendering. Some of the shots took like maybe 2 seconds to render, like some not shots, the frames. Some were maybe maximum 1 minute or something like that. So it was fairly quick render, the whole movie. And there was no post-production as well. So whatever came out from the Blender viewport was the final movie in the end.
I just got electrocuted by the microphone.
You're okay?
I'm fine. I'm afraid of microphones now. But so did you, because it's real time, did you also have real time physics on some of the water?
There was no physics.
No physics.
Oh, for water? No, wait. So, what do you mean by real-time physics? No, it was not like computer games that you have like rigid body physics. For the splashes, no, that was cached. So the simulation was with points. So, for example, there's a shot where the whale jumps out of the water and then splashes back. That was all cached simulation. Like you add a cube where you want to simulate the splashing, then you add like a proxy object that fairly resembles the whale. Whale comes out, it disturbs the water. The water is maybe like 1 meter thick, just to save on memory, and then just add that splash on top of my water, so it resembles that it's one coherent ocean, let's say.
No, that's great. The reason I was asking, like, if it was simulated in physics, maybe you played once the simulation, the second time was different, but it was so nice the first time, and god damn it, it's not doing the same thing again.
Oh yeah, that's what you usually have with simulations.
Yes.
You cannot really control simulations, and at one point, I think it was not also very important. I mean, those are very fast moments, and most of your time your eyes are fixed on characters, and there are quite a lot of errors from time to time that I'm like always like, ooh, how did we leave those in? But in the end it doesn't matter, and our aim was to finish the movie in time, so we had to find ways how to do things as cheap as possible and fast.
You said that one part of the members of your studio didn't actually have much experience nor with
Yes.
Blender and animation.
Yes,
What
no
now
animation.
after the movie? What did they...
So there's no studio actually. There's Gins Zilbaludis, and he has a legal entity that is called Dreamwell Studio. But there's only one person in the studio. Rest of the team, they are either working on the same office doing their stuff, like their things. So I'm just I'm running my Blender add-on company. Another studio is doing their VFX stuff. There are some graphic designers, some yeah. So everyone else is doing their things, and then whenever Gins is ready, making his next film, everyone will assemble again. But it's not like we're getting now other projects to work on. It's like you got an Oscar, and it doesn't really mean much. It's like it's nice, it's a prestige, but then again, you're like trying to scramble your money to pay your taxes and find ways how to feed your family. So we're not rich. Even Gins or Mattis, they're not millionaires by now. Even if you see the movie has got like 60 million in box office, most of that money goes to producers, cinemas, the distributors, and maybe some of the burp, is going to get invested into the next film.
So is Gint making
Yeah.
his next movie?
So
Are you
the next film.
joining the
Wait, I'm just figuring out how much. Yeah, so the next film is going to be titled Limbo. It will have dialogue. There will be humans. It's going to be feature film made in Blender. Not real time this time. That's it. That's all I can tell.
Thank you. Thank you, Martins, for being here. And if we have another question from the audience, I think we can have one. Yes?
If I can, just to finish it off, since we have so many students here today, what skills do you foresee will be most needed for the next film?
For the next film, or just in general for the next professionals? I don't know. As we already heard, I think getting to know your tools that you're working with, that helps a lot, whatever they are, either pencil or AI, and. People seem to be asking this a lot, like even my students, like which skills should I like focus on? And I mean, in Hollywood, you would probably say, hey, whatever you like, just polish that one thing and just become the best at it. I think in Europe, or maybe in independent animation or film, it's better to understand probably the most of the pipeline and just find something that you really like. That's something that's really like gives gives the next day the power, so you can like climb out of the bed and it's like, yeah, I'm going to. For me, it's like, yeah, I'm going to watch some water. Or I don't know, references or atmosphere. So just find something that really excites you, and then probably someone will find you, someone like Gins, because I didn't do anything special. I somehow got into the project. So I think anyone of you, for example, your schoolmates or colleagues, they decide to make a project, just go with it. And if you believe in it, it's going to be your like those people will going to be your people and your bubble of professionals. So yeah.
Thank you, Martins. It was really inspirational.